Let's talk some college football, something we don't do on here, not nearly enough. But there was a ton of big news. I do want to just point out that the AP polls just came out, and they rank. If I could pull it up right here. Okay, I can't pull it up right here, but it goes Georgia, Michigan,
Michigan is two. Yeah.
Alabama, and then Cincinnati. So Michigan coming out of nowhere. I wish that I could watch Wisconsin beat them in the Big Ten championship next week, but that is nowhere here, nowhere there. We are talking about a team that's not even in the college football playoffs, and we are starting with the University of Southern California signing Lincoln Riley away from the Oklahoma Sooners. Jake, I'm gonna let you start. Just what does this mean? What does this mean for college football? What does this mean for the landscape of college football moving forward?
Yeah. This was crazy because Lincoln Riley looked like he had found his home in Oklahoma. I mean, he had produced 2 Heisman Trophy winners, 2 back-to-back number 1 overall picks. Spencer Rattler was supposed to be another one, but he didn't really pan out. But Caleb Williams was looking good. So it came out that he just didn't like the move to the SEC. And that kind of gets me thinking, okay, he just liked the easy conference championship every year. Besides this year where Oklahoma State came out of nowhere. By the way, props to Oklahoma State. You guys, like they actually have a defense for the first time in the history of the Big 12. But it seems like, I'm going to be honest, like people are calling Lincoln Riley a snake. He kind of is. Like this struck me as kind of a coward move. This was kind of a coward move. Like you're going to the SEC. You probably out of OU and Texas that are going to the SEC, OU by far had the better chance of doing well in the SEC. Okay. It's not like Texas just has the name. OU has been, not that OU doesn't have the name. OU is also a big name, but Texas is bigger, obviously. But it just seems like he was scared. Now I get USC is a great program. I get all that, but he had taken OU to the college football playoff a couple of times. They've been very close to winning it, especially that year at Baker Mayfield, where they went into overtime with Georgia, I believe. They were very close to the college football championship. Like he had nothing. There was no reason to make a move at this point. It's almost like if I don't want to say Belichick, but like if Andy Reid, before he won the Super Bowl, if he had just been like, no, I'm gonna move now. Just like I'm just gonna leave Patrick Mahomes and this super talented 5-star team that I've got rolling and go to another one. It's like, why? It's just unnecessary. I think it was kind of a coward move by him. But again, who am I to say that? I'm totally unqualified. A little plug there. But yeah. But listen, he's going to have a ton of success in the Pac-12, especially because the Pac-12 has just got weaker and weaker and weaker to the point where it is only Oregon at this point. And that's it. And Oregon's really nothing special. So I do think it's good for the Pac-12 because Pac-12 had the chance of kind of fading into the background. So I think it's good on that front that the Pac-12 is finally going to be brought back to notoriety. And especially like when USC is good, college football's good. It's that same, like when the Knicks are good, kind of same thing there. But I didn't like the move. I didn't like the move. And I thought it was a little bit of a cop out by Lincoln Riley.
See, life is all about perspective. So I'm going to play a little bit of devil's advocate here. I think that he made a move that made a lot of sense for his career going forward, especially if he has aspirations of potentially maybe becoming an NFL head coach at some point, or, of doing big things, because Oklahoma moving to the SEC, I think, is almost a death sentence for them at this point in time, even if he had stuck around, because you then are competing with these other big name teams that have been big name teams for a long time for these recruits and stuff like that. And I think that he has a plan. I think that he had a plan going into this. We talked about it some on live last night, Jake. I think Lincoln Riley goes to USC. I think that Caleb Williams could potentially follow him to USC. By the way, today, Caleb Williams took Oklahoma quarterback out of his Instagram bio, if that means anything. And I don't know. I just think that he's going to go to this USC program. I think he's fully capable of building it up. He might bring some of his guys with him, Caleb Williams, and potentially others. And I think that he could turn the Pac-12 back into, I think this is going to be bigger than just him getting to USC and making them good again. I think that he's going to make the Pac-12 a more what am I trying to say here? Competitive conference as a whole, whereas they haven't been for a very long time, like you were saying. So USC has been on the down. The Pac-12 has been on the down. Like you said, only Oregon. I think that he makes college football better by doing this. Like it sucks for Oklahoma, of course, because they're going to be in an even worse spot than they were just going to the SEC with him at the helm. But as far as the rest of college football, I kind of like the move.
I don't necessarily think this move sets him up better for a future like NFL position, because I think Lincoln Riley could have gotten an NFL position like that as a head coach.
Exactly.
I really do.
Yeah.
That being said, I'm going to take the perspective of USC, and we're talking Hollywood, baby. You need stars. We're talking about an era where there are stars literally everywhere on every single sport in Los Angeles. I can't even remember of a time remotely close to like now. You have LeBron James and Russ and AD in Los Angeles, and Kawhi, and you have Justin Herbert, and you have Matt Stafford, and all these big stars, right? USC hasn't been relevant in quite some time now, and they needed that one guy to change it and to really attract more people. Do you remember that quote that Mike Tomlin said a couple weeks ago, where it's like, no blank check could be big enough for me to come?
Yeah.
I think there was a big enough check there. I want to see the details of what they're giving him, because it must have been crazy to pull him away from OU. But I will say, like I just said, stars attract stars. 5-star 2023 quarterback Malachi Nelson, who was committed to Oklahoma, just decommitted and is now going to USC, which is already a big effect.
Shocker.
And he hasn't even been there, not even a week. So
a day,
not even a day. You're right. Not even a day. It's kind of crazy. This is going to change the landscape of it. Do you guys think he wanted to leave, or he didn't want to go to the SEC because it would have sort of tarnished his how we view him as a head coach going up against these stronger defenses? And we think Lincoln Riley is this big offensive minded genius, like a Cliff Kingsbury, like a Sean McVay.
Well, that's kind of what I was getting at. Like, that's why I think that for his career, this move makes more sense, because if he goes to this other conference, this really tough conference, and he's not able to compete with some of the top teams there, then that starts to make him look worse as a head coach, especially if he spends a decent amount of time there. I think that if that were to happen, a move ends up happening anyway, and it might not be in his favor.
It's like when my dad always taught me, walk away while you're ahead. He walked away while he was ahead. And it's listen, I will say this, as I'm kind of picturing, like, when I picture like how teams sell themselves to like coaches or players, I immediately go to the Clippers hanging up Blake Griffin's number in the rafters and how they sold that to him. And they signed him to that big contract, and they kept him in LA just to trade him like 2 years later. But like, if there's anybody that could put on a show for you to get you to come along and then back it up with a big check, it's USC. Like, I can't even imagine the shit the players they must have brought in, like, to kind of convince him to go there. Cause it is Hollywood, it's glitz, it's glamour. But yeah, I think he saw blood in the water in the Pac-12. He saw the opportunity to leave. Like I said, here's the thing that confuses me though, because like Luke said, he could have gotten an NFL job. He has been in NFL head coach conversations for the past couple of years. I know when the Browns were looking for a head coach, I know they reached out to Lincoln Riley because of his relationship with Baker Mayfield. Obviously, they made the much better decision of going Kevin Stefanski, but he could have gotten an NFL job. I'm kind of confused as to why he just didn't wait. Why he didn't wait it out. I mean, again, if USC is throwing $100 million in your face and it's fucking USC, all right, I kind of get that. But at the same time, I almost don't know if his aspirations are to go to the NFL at this point, because he definitely could have easily just waited a couple months. And I think he would have been hired as an NFL head coach this year. I honestly think if he wanted to leave, he could have gotten an NFL job. Especially Gage, like we were talking about last night, Jacksonville would have been great for him to groom Trevor Lawrence down there. But it's confusing. It's confusing. But listen, I think he might be trying to kind of have a Nick Saban-esque career and just dominate college football. And listen, yes, USC does have a better recruiting sale. Like it's easier to sell USC than Oklahoma.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think it's very transparent what happened here with the knowing that he didn't like the move to the SEC. It like I said, it just seems like a cop out.
Do you guys think USC makes a college football playoffs in the next 5 years?
Yes.
In the next 5 years, yeah.
Next
Yes.
5? Well, I mean,
I
I'm sure
don't-
it's going to be expanded by then, but
I
It
also
will.
think,
Yeah.
yeah, and I think the committee is itching to put a Pac-12 team in.
Oh yeah, they love putting Oregon in. They love putting
Yeah.
Oregon in. Oregon hasn't been relevant in the college football playoff since Marcus Mariota, since they went to the
Yep.
championship the first year it happened, and they lost. But yeah,